Hi, the book that I'm going to review tonight is Edward Lee's White Trash Gothic 3. This is the Minotaurus, which I'm gonna start reading this week. But we have White Trash Gothic 3 here. This is the third part of the White Trash Gothic Trilogy, and this was published in 2020. And this is a sequel to his most famous, notorious Splatterpunk novel, The Bighead, published in 1997. So this part 3 of the White Trash Gothic Trilogy concludes this tale, and it's kind of okay. And before I proceed, there will be some spoilers, so if you guys and girls don't want any spoilers, please click away now, come back, read the book, come back later and tell me what do you think of the book in the comment section. Having said that, let's carry on with the review. Now the story of White Trash Gothic 3 carries on where White Trash Gothic 2 ended, and that story ended at the Crafter House, which has doorways to hell in one of the dungeons at his house. And the Bighead is still on the loose. Also, at the end of that story, we find that Charity, who was one of the main characters in the original Bighead, is still alive, and she has been living off the grid for the last 20 years. And at the end of White Trash Gothic 2, she comes back and tells the narrator, the writer, that she is Charity and she is Bighead's sister. And so the story carries on. The two girlfriends of the narrator, Dawn and Snowy, they go by a drone which they can send through this dungeon and crafter house through one of the doors to the hell. They can send the drones and see what's on the other side of the door, which is actually hell, and they see what's happening in the hell, the literal hell, and all the grotesque, all the depraved, grotesque, nasty stuff that goes on in the literal hell, and they see it through the drone. And this novel is not as good as the previous two in the White Trash Gothic Trilogy, because this novel is like a hodgepodge of so many things. Edward Lee was breaking the fourth wall in part 1 and part 2 of White Trash Gothic series, but in this part 3, he's just gone over the board. He's like breaking the fourth wall. He's writing too much metafiction, and it distracts from the story. All the time I was reading this book, White Trash Gothic 3, I felt nostalgic for the Bighead, because the Bighead was very focused and very cohesive story, focusing on the monster on the loose. And it had its dark humor, but at the same time it was scary. It was very focused. And the sex scenes were there, but they were not over the top. They were over the top, but they were not on every single page. Because in this book, it's Dawn and Snowy, and they're constantly engaging in sex with each other on every other page, and it distracts you from the story, and you kind of get sick of it. And it's like, what the fuck, Edward Lee? Are you like, of course this is a splatterpunk novel, but are you living your like adolescence fantasies here? Come on, move on with the story. And it becomes kind of boring. And at the same time, we find the origin of the Bighead. Now, in the original Bighead, it was left quite open-ended. It was left quite vague to what the origin of the Bighead was. Was he just an inbred monster? Was he some kind of a demon? Was he an alien? It was left quite open. I think the Bighead, the original book, has two different versions. In one, I think it was portrayed as an alien. In one of the endings, he was more like left open-ended, like a inbred redneck monster. But in this book, it's spelled out for you that the Bighead is an alien, and he has an alien origin. And spelling it out, it kind of, I think, diminish the fucking mystique of the Bighead. And it's like, oh, we know he's an alien now, I mean, what the hell? So like spelling it out, it kind of, in my perspective, it diminishes the story and the mystique of the Bighead. And it's not a big book. It was published in 2020, but too much metafiction here, too much breaking the fourth wall, too much humor, too many sex scenes with Dawn and Snowy. It distracts from the story, and it stops the momentum of the story going. And that's why I didn't enjoy this book that much, and it made me nostalgic for the Bighead. Because like I said, that book was very focused and the story was very cohesive. Even part 1 and 2 was better than part 3, how this story gets concluded. The ending of this book is very abrupt. Now we know that Charity is back. And we know that Bighead raped his sister at the end of the original Bighead. And we kind of guess that there will be an offspring, a baby. It's kind of guessed if you are shrewd and you can kind of read into the story and guess. And lo and behold, that's what happens. Bighead and Charity's child. We get to meet the child of Bighead and Charity at the end of this book, and basically it's a girl, and she single-handedly kicks Bighead's ass. But it's very anticlimactic. It ends quickly. We find out that Bighead is an alien, and it was not too bad of a read, but it was nowhere at the level of the first two books in this trilogy were better, because the first book lays down the foundations of the story with the narrator, Dawn and Snowy, and all the shenanigans they get up to at the morgue, all that, the gangsters, Polly, I think his name was Polly, and the town Luntwill's lineage too. H.P. Lovecraft, we get to know in the first book. In the second book, we get more of the Bighead and his carnage, but this book is just hodgepodge of so many things. Aliens, I think some characters from his other books are back. The satanic aliens who can suck out all the bones from a person and the person just becomes boneless and they just deflate. I haven't read those books or what book that's from, but all those characters are from Edward Lee's older books. We have aliens, but they are like satanic aliens. Now, like, come on, Edward Lee, are we living in the satanic panic fucking era of the 80s? I mean, I was only a little kid in the 80s. I'm a 90s child. I grew up in the 90s, so, but I've read the stories about the Satanic Panic, and I mean, what the fuck is this? So it's good read, and it's okay, but it's nowhere near the greatness of the Bighead, and this book made me nostalgic for the Bighead. Having said that, I would rate this solid 6.5 out of 10. And I'm gonna start the Minotaurus tonight, which is a prequel to the Bighead and was written or published around 2007 or 8. I think it was 2007, and I'm gonna start this tonight. I mean, this far into the Luntville story and all the deranged stuff that happens in Luntville, why not finish this book too and review it? So, have you read The Bighead? Have you read any books in the White Trash Gothic Trilogy, or have you read The Minotaurus? Let me know, what do you think of these books? The Bighead is the most viewed video on my channel. My review of The Bighead is the most viewed review on my channel. So if you haven't watched that, go and watch that. But yeah, keep on reading great fiction, great horror fiction, great splatterpunk, sci-fi, fantasy, dark fantasy, just great fucking fiction. And I will see you guys sometime very soon in the next video, next week. And cheerios and bye for now. See you.